All right, so I got out of town this weekend or whatever. Just me and my daughter went for a little one night getaway or whatever. And we're staying in this hotel. There's almost no indication that anybody else is on this floor with us. Like, that's how quiet it was. I did see like 4 people or whatever, but just for the sake of context, it was so quiet that it was like nobody else was on the floor. All of a sudden, we're trying to wind down. We had a long day at the beach. You know, when you're in water all day, just when you're in water all day, just in that vibe outside, by the time you get to your relaxation place, your body just winds all the way down. You just want to chill. So that's kind of where we were. And we was about to call it a night or whatever, just in the room chilling. We keep hearing knocks at the door. So at first I'm like, you know, maybe it's because our room is next to somebody else's. It sounds like they're knocking on this door, but they're not, because I do hear them keep going in and out of their room. But no, the knocks are becoming more and more prevalent, to the point where it's like, yeah, they're knocking on this door. So I go over there, I open the door, whatever. I catch the kids at the door. And they looking all dumbfounded. I was like, can I help you? We thought this was our room. I said, do you know where your room is? Yes. Okay, can you go to your room, please? Stop knocking on this door. Okay. All right. Mind you, these kids like between 6 and 8 years old. All right. Okay. This goes on for a while. Them running up and down the hall, knocking on the door, trying to get into the room or whatever. And my daughter ends up getting super frustrated. She's like, Mom, I want to go downstairs and say something to the people at the front. Like, they need to move our room. So I said, they're going to tell you that you need an adult down there. She was like, I just have to go. I have to get out of this room. I have to go walk. I have to do something to calm down. So she calls me on FaceTime while she's going down to the lobby to say something to the attendant. And the lady, of course, is like, you know, well, you will have to have an adult down here. But my daughter, it was so funny because I find that when she is being reprimanded or disciplined by me, it's like she has no understanding of what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is flying all the way over the coop. And it's a battle, right? And when I'm hearing her like explain her issues with her friends, or cuss her friends out if they're getting into a little squabble, or if she's talking about how somebody, you know, irritated her at school or whatever, something about these instances brings out this higher level of intellect, where I'm rallying and advocating for her at school, you know, for all of these accommodations so she can have more time to do blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying whatever to my husband, and he like, man, she ain't getting over on me, so on and so forth. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to make sure my kid's straight. I ain't trying to make it seem like she's getting over on me. But then when I hear her in these sentences, it's like, hold the fuck up. So you do know what I be talking about, because you be saying the same shit to the teachers, to your friends, to people out there. But like, when you get to your moment, you start talking like goddamn Martin and Malcolm. So anyway, so she's now and then saying whatever she's saying to the lady, like, you need an adult. I'm on FaceTime with her or whatever. So I'm like, okay, ma'am, I'm on the phone with her. I told her I would need to be down there. But, you know, at this point, I'm just giving them a chance to wind down before I make a decision about what I want to do. So she's like, you want to have us send security up there? I said, sure. So my daughter comes back up to the room or whatever. But you can kind of hear a little bit of wind down in the hallway, but not too much. So probably around like 10:15, 10:30, I think I dozed off, but they wasn't doing so much that it was disturbing me at that point. All right, cut to the next morning, get up, of course, checkout is at 11. And I'm hearing knocks at the door again. And then I'm hearing the kids running up and down the fucking hall again. All right, I'm irritated, but I'm like, we about to check out, you know, like, we about to be away from this problem. But at the same time, I'm also trying to bleed the clock as much as I can. I'm trying to chill. I'm trying to relax. Like, yeah, we supposed to be out at 11, but 11 for me is like when I start getting ready. So I didn't have an opportunity to do that. It had to have been about 10:15. They knocked on the door one more fucking time. And I went out there in the hall, and I see part of the family standing out there. Older lady. Excuse me, ma'am. Can you please have your kids stop knocking on this door? This bitch gonna say, those aren't my kids. I said, you're with them though. well, no, I'll go tell their parents or whatever. I said, please. So I'm out there talking to her about what's happening, how much they've been knocking on the door from last night to this morning and so on and so forth. Lady comes out who's clearly the parent of 1, 2, 3 of these kids. I don't fucking know. What's going on? I said, like I was just explaining to her, these kids have been knocking on my door since last night. And they were doing it this morning, and I was going to let it just be whatever it was going to be. But I was like, it's actually becoming a problem at this point, even though we're about to leave. And she's like, well, they're young and, they can't really understand the numbers and so on and so forth, like remembering what the room number is and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, all of that's all well and fine. I understand that. So when I opened the door last night and the little girl said that she was trying to find the room, but she realized this wasn't it, my thought was that she wasn't going to continue to knock on this door anymore because she realized that this wasn't her door. But it continued to happen. And I was like, and it even happening this morning. I don't know if it's intentional or not at this point. Well, ma'am, like I was saying, they're young and they don't know. I said, okay, it still stands to reason that they're running up and down the halls. If they are as young as you're saying, they need supervision. In which case, they wouldn't keep not knowing what door does or does not belong to them and then knocking on everybody else's door trying to find their door. Well, we about to leave anyway. I said we are too, but I had to get this out. Then all of a sudden, other people start coming out into the hall or whatever at the tail end of the conversation. They're all family. It's just me. It's just me and my daughter, who is 11, okay? Like, I'm in the hall, I'm having this confrontation, and granted, it ain't aggressive, but I hate to be stereotypical, but black women know how black women talk. And when you start getting into a certain little, okay, well, I mean, they're only blah, 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 it just becomes something else, right? I eventually go back in the room and I'm venting about it, ranting about it. And it's just like, why the fuck wouldn't her first inclination be, I apologize that my kids kept disturbing you. We're about to go. I sincerely regret that you weren't able to relax the way that you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? What happened to accountability? Why the fuck do y'all think when y'all have kids in spaces that people are automatically supposed to be accepting of certain behaviors? No. You are the authority over the fucking kids. You gonna sit here and tell me that they're running up and down the hall because they don't know where their room is? Well, where's the fucking parents? Where's the parent that can direct them to their correct room? Y'all sitting out here defending them when you should be out here fucking protecting them from harm. Somebody could have snatched their goofy asses up in these rooms. You wouldn't have known the difference. You would have then had to have been going to knock on door on the floor because you don't know where your kids are. But you sitting up here trying to stand up for them in the wrong way. We got to get it together. We got to get it together. Y'all be out here picking fights for the wrong fucking reason. All you had to do was apologize and be on your way. But that's not what you wanted to do. You want to argue. Like, baby, I'm still going to say what I need to say, knowing full well that I'm probably about to get jumped. Now, the jump didn't happen. They said whatever they wanted to say after the fuck I went in my room and closed the door. But they were speaking amongst themselves. All right, bet, whatever. But them kids didn't knock on my fucking door no more. So, just start apologizing. You know what I'm saying? That's it.